Hi everyone, doing a vlog from a different viewpoint today as I just get my dinner ready. So today, or last night actually, a very prominent member of the Bedford community passed away. Unexpected. I mean, he was 75. I think he was like 20. Just very involved in things, and I just wanted to share something that he volunteered for Bedford TV, doing a variety of things. If you're local, it's Mike Rosenberg that I'm talking about. I'm actually going to be anchoring the news on Monday, which I haven't done in a very long time. But there's this weird thing, like since, I don't know, like my co-anchor had passed away, and then another beloved member of the Bedford community passed. They both passed from cancer. It hits differently because it's totally unexpected. I shouldn't be throwing this out. It was totally unexpected. And he had done an article. He was a reporter and an editor and lots of journalist things that he had done. And he wrote an article on me when I still lived in Bedford, and I was, being on the news and stuff, and I was involved in a lot, so I guess for a time I was, somewhat prominent as a community member with all the things I'd done. But anyway, he interviewed me when I got COVID, because that was pretty early on in the pandemic, and it turned out that a lot of the things with me having COVID were not actually about me having COVID. I had cancer at the time, and I just didn't know it. Anyway, so he wrote an article about me in my COVID journey. But he would come into, relatively recently, he had been coming into the station at Bedford TV and doing a sports report. He was super involved in stuff. He was the voice behind our football games. Like, you would just hear him echoing and anyway, so it's interesting as people are, sharing things on social media and whatnot about him. And what lands with me is that he was in the studio within the past 6 months or so, I don't know, and was asking how I was feeling. And I told him, I finished up with treatments and things were going okay. Maybe it was more than 6 months ago. I don't even remember, but I didn't get into super big detail. I wasn't extremely close with him, but he was kind of a pillar in town, for kids and stuff, just involved in a lot. But he told me that he had had cancer. That's not what he died of, by the way, but he said that he had had cancer. I don't even recall where. And what was so not wording well. I word well when I have time. I'm the one who's writing his the story about him passing when I'll come down here when we do the news on Monday. And I wrote it when my co-anchor Ann passed away, and I just want to be able to give that gift. I was asked to anchor the news or co-anchor the news on Monday. But when Mike said, he was sitting in one of the two chairs that we have when you first come into the studio, and when I said to him, I didn't know that he had cancer, and maybe, at the time, because I feel like it had been a while ago, so maybe, at the time, it was a big thing in the community, but the thing with him is he was involved in so many things that, his life was not about the fact that he had cancer. The way he talked about it was it was a blip, a very large blip, obviously a life-altering blip, and the characteristics of who he is as a human being and the things that he's dedicated to and the things that he's passionate about. Cancer was not going to override those things. So while I'm doing these vlogs and stuff, to be there to help other people and stuff, I don't intend on doing them forever because I want to go back out into life doing my thing. And he knew me when, I was doing the things, aside from being sorry, aside from being involved in Bedford, like I did volunteer a lot. I spearheaded a lot of things to give back. And I don't know how much of those I want to do, but I also don't want to be underneath the cloud of being a breast cancer survivor for the rest of my life, even though I know I will always be a breast cancer survivor. Until I breathe my last breath, which hopefully is not for a very, 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 very long time. But the takeaway I got was like, this thing happened. Not to minimize, just to acknowledge that it happened. And to acknowledge that it's not going to stop us. It didn't stop him. You know, he had a very full life. And because it was unexpected that he passed, it's hard to say that. But cancer was not a shadow behind, or a shadow over all of those things about him. And it kind of gave me a different perspective of looking at things that, you know, for me, it's like a chapter, not so much a blip, because it's been going on for years at this point, and I'm still dealing with stuff. Like I had my tattooing started, and my shoulder's been hurting, and my arm, and just a lot's coming back physically and emotionally about when I had my initial surgery. But this is just like, the tattooing is like the final chapter of the reconstruction. And while I've obviously changed a lot as a human being with all of this stuff, and have learned lessons and all sorts of things, both good and not good, it's a chapter. It's not me. Like, I had breast cancer. I am not breast cancer. I had breast cancer. And now I don't. And now it's time to do Jen in whatever way that looks like. That's all I wanted to say today. So, yeah, you choose how you want to define yourself. And, you know, this journey is what it is, but it's what you make of what you have control over. You know, everything that you do is a choice. And do you want to choose to have this sickness overtake you and be what your life is all about? Or do you want to have you be what your life is all about, and every part of you? I'm going to leave you there. Love yourself, everyone, and be kind to yourself today.